All right. Well, we're trying something new. It's just a matter of picking shit up and trying to figure out what the hell to do in my life. I started looking through my wife's camera equipment. She bought, I don't know, this. I don't know if I can find it. There it is. Well, she bought a good camera, what I thought was a good camera, compared to the shit that I get. For whatever reason, back when we were still in Phoenix, I think. And then what I didn't know about was relatively recently, well, at some point or another, she started doing tarot readings. And she bought this setup that I'm using right now, which is like a $600 camera, a fancy microphone, a tripod and everything. And that explains something that she said that didn't make sense to me. And I don't know if it's recording or not. I assume it is, but it looks like it's doing something. I don't know if it's in focus. It's complicated. I'm used to my point and shoot stuff, which works just fine for me. But I'm just testing this out in part to see, hey, if it doesn't work, maybe that explains something, because she spent, almost as much as she did on her gaming computer, which also wasn't really a terribly useful thing. But I guess her intention was she was doing some kind of tarot reading type stuff and was designing her own deck and had a blog about it and everything. And, well, anyway, she offered me her old camera. Little did I know, like, she was going to send it back at one point, because she was like, I just don't, when she first bought it, I don't know if I'm going to be able to use this. And I'm like, well, you're going to have to pay shipping and everything on it. Why don't you keep it? I'll pay for it, whatever. I think what she decided was it was just not good enough, and invested in this, which, was a fairly expensive collection of equipment. It got lights and everything. And I, as far as I can tell, she didn't do a hell of a lot with them. But anyway, in looking around through her sales records and stuff like that, or purchase records, I guess, I found this, but I also found she bought this several months before she bought the poison. And then also I noticed that, like, even as late as January, she was posting stuff to her blog, although she had, like, given up on it. And I don't have a date for when she had said, well, I'm done making the cards or whatever. But she had posted a number of things, some of which sound kind of hopeful. Certainly not where she ended up. And it makes sense with my own experience of what she was going through, because after she went to the dentist, she seemed pretty positive across the board. And I've talked about this before. After she went in for the surgery, she felt she was laughing. She was enjoying our time together in a way that stopped a couple weeks later. And again, I mean, part of this is just I'm searching, trying to figure out what the fuck happened. All right. So there were multiple reasons for this. One was, hey, I've been thinking about digging this out. If I end up doing a ceremony or something, maybe this better camera will be a better way to do it, but maybe not. Maybe my simple things are the better way to do it. Another was to show off my hair color, because some people wanted to know about my dyeing experience. just, what color it was. I've had this color before. It's what I like. Probably the best or close to the best that I can get out of like normal store brands. I'm more interested in the intense stuff, but something like this is just so fucking much easier to deal with. I mean, I mix up a little bit. I don't have to bleach. It's just all in one. Maybe I don't have to bleach with some of the darker colors. And then the final thing was something that's been kicking around on my head for a while that I have not faced in terms of like, I started writing down some notes and just figured, well, you know what? Let's go into them a little bit. Maybe some of the thinking I did. I went for a walk and stopped by and chatted with someone for a while about some of these things. And I'm just like, let's just do it, see what we can get. So what I was trying to do was kind of summarize hey, what is the grief? What is the pain? Are the things that are making me miserable right now? I don't know, just for whatever. And kind of tried to order them, but I don't know if I really particularly did that successfully. It's hard to order because they do shift around, right? I mean, it's like when you're sick, the world seems terrible because you're sick, but the world's really terrible for other reasons before that. I guess one of the firsts is just the loss of something to me, something I valued tremendously, which is her. I maybe didn't realize how important I found that. And these are very, very, it's not that different from a situation where, let's say, you're breaking up or something like that, with a long-term partner. It's not like I look at my first wife and this situation, and in this particular instance, I have lost less this time. That other time destroyed my life, I mean, not only did I lose what was really, it felt like a deeper situation in terms of, we had more facets, at least at various times, that felt like they aligned well. Certainly the amount of time together was about the same, over a decade, but pretty close to that. That loss is an issue. There's no question about that. There are parts that are a little different. For example, knowing she's dead means there's no possibility, no hope. I mean, for the first couple of years with my first ex, I held out hope of some sort or another. And only half-heartedly, in the sense that, like, my God, it's never going to be the same. I mean, I came up and spent a month with her for Christmas after we broke up. And, I mean, it was just so clearly we were not the same people. It was not the same relationship, at least. That loss was probably there, but it was easier to hide in the sense that this person and all their little habits and attributes, etc., are just, not gone from this earth, in that sort of sense. But little matter in the end, right? If you're gonna assess it. On the other hand, other than her, the rest of my life is pretty much the same, and then there's like very similar to this is missing things that are very specific to her, and this is one of the things I was talking about. Everybody that I've been with, except for maybe my first girlfriend, with any seriousness, has had a very childlike aspect to them. Their pleasures, their joys were very childlike in many ways. And an excitement, just a wonder, a beauty, whatever you want to say, that really, really is important to me. And that's something specifically in her that, like, I find especially hard to be lacking now. Some of that relates, and you know, I mean, I have a penchant for finding people who are like that, but each one is specifically different. The things that make them happy, the things that bring that pleasure. Another thing that's closely linked to that is sort of this unwillingness to hurt, you know, animals and others without cause or whatever. But in my recently passed wife's case, she was probably the least harmful of all, in the sense of, like, she wasn't a nice person. When I say nice, it's not necessarily a compliment. Nice people are people who go out of their way to be helpful and are friendly and maybe expect something, maybe not. I don't know. It's probably a mixture. It depends on the person, depends on the situation. She wasn't that at all. She had no desire to, like, interface with others in that kind of way, or in any kind of way, really. But she had sort of the least vengeful personality. Like, there was nothing there that wanted to hurt or damage anyone, which to me is almost alien, because I am a very vengeful person. You know, I mean, somebody's making noise outside, I want to go out and off them, but I don't, because there are laws. She always used to say, there's a reason there's the police and you're it. And it's not because I would kill someone. I'd probably still be too afraid of various consequences or that I'd screw up or something. But the point is, I really don't have any kind of moral compass there. But most other people fall in between the two of us, I think. I'm pretty much in the same camp as my mother, which is just, you know, you wronged me or disturbed me in any way, you shall die. At least in intention, if not in actuality. There's something I'm missing here that I didn't write down, that I can't quite put down, which is just and I kind of alluded to that, to the loss of my life, but it's this person is just gone. You know, I've had to deal with that once before, and I've carried her in my heart, you know, that whole time. But at the time, I was, you know, still in love with my first wife, very much so. We were only together for a couple of years at that point, and maybe less. And also, I could see that she was on a downward spiral. This is my psycho ex. And that there was really nothing between us anymore, and maybe nothing left for her, period. So anyway, this is maybe the only time that I've had to deal with it quite like this. I mean, I've known other people who've died but didn't really have anywhere near as close a relationship. Even pets who have died, you know, like my childhood dog, he was smeared on the highway. I was there, I was, you know, in town, but I didn't get to deal with that. But again, he was getting old. When I found out that my childhood cat died, I wasn't around, but she had just kind of gone to sleep and didn't wake up. In this case, this was completely unexpected. to me. I mean, I couldn't believe. Yeah. So let me hedge that a little. I knew something was wrong the day before, and I knew something was wrong with her in terms of being more withdrawn, but that wasn't completely unusual. But what I didn't know was that, she had enough willpower to actually kill herself, especially since she was terminally afraid of all kinds of other things, including dying a pointless death. But on the same hand, I knew that, like me, she didn't believe in a value to life and believed that the best answer was to kill yourself as quickly as you possibly can, safely and assuredly, Another side of this is guilt. It's expected, right? It's expected that you should be feeling guilt when someone else dies, even the survivor's guilt. But when somebody commits suicide, that you should have seen something. You could have seen something. I've got that, but it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than that. The day before, maybe even for a few days before, I felt a certain level of this sort of, does she even serve a purpose in my life? Because she had grown so withdrawn just beforehand. And then I had that vision the day she probably had already taken the poisons. And that was something of a warning. And then when we talked, she was not logically grounded. Like, the way she was talking, the things she was saying didn't make sense any more than what I was saying, but I knew I was coming out of a delusional dream state. She seemed like my psycho ex, which was very, very troubling. And so I had signs that whole day, and through her eating her dinner slowly, whatever, like really, really slowly, and not doing the dishes at night and stuff like that, I knew something was very wrong with her. I did not assume, I certainly didn't think she was committing suicide. I thought it was COVID. I thought the COVID had hit her hard and was hitting her brain and doing something there. And yet I didn't do anything about that particularly. And then when she came up and was obviously stressed, distressed, very, very nervous, very jittery, at like 2 a.m, again, she scared the shit out of me because she knocked on my door, and I was brusque with her because I needed to get up in the morning and was up when I shouldn't be already, probably playing my flash games, which I'm addicted to, but maybe jerking off or something, who knows. And she always reacts badly to that kind of thing, and maybe, if I hadn't snapped like I do, if I had held her and hugged her longer, maybe, she would have told me something. Because obviously she was more awake and aware at that point than she had been earlier, and maybe more lucid, but maybe in the same state she was in before. And, then when I see how she died, her hand was up in a claw. It was I don't know if that's, an involuntary thing or